Hello, everybody. It's Michael Ibbott here from Nelly De Vuyst Derme&Co. And today we are going to be talking about ingredients and what you can actually benefit from with regard to some of the newest technologies that are on the marketplace. So the webinar is sponsored by Nelly De Vuyst, also the company Derme&Co. The manufacturers of Nelly De Vuyst also provides other formats for you to pursue if you're interested in working with premium skincare. We have the Druid BioLove, which is an excellent set of formulations for children. Druid, the laboratory that manufactures various product lines. Alaska, our brand for waxing and miscellaneous products, and Europe Lab, our private label division, which can help to assist you with regards to creating your own brand within your location. Today, we're going to focus on the certification process first with regards to what we utilize to ensure that we're in compliance with this standard called Ecocert. This standard, which was started in France in 1991, is now recognized internationally by over 80 countries with regards to specifications that we have to meet and formulations being specific to the conditions that we want to target. So it is the first standard for cosmetic and organic products. Again, in 1991, France created this standard. So around 1991, what was happening internationally is people were being concerned about genetically modified ingredients. So the principle that Ecocert is the ecology of the planet. So the certification that encompasses everything that we'd be using, whether it be inside of a product and even the containers themselves. And obviously, we are concerned about the environment. So the carbon footprint, how we are treating the planet, and how we are utilizing active ingredients without diminishing the source for those raw materials. So there is a control factor that we have to consider when we're talking about the specifications. And also the finished formula has to be in compliance, as I mentioned before. Because we are the manufacturers of product, we have to have annual audits to ensure that we're in compliance for continuing the Ecocert label on our products. So if we were the manufacturer, as I mentioned, this chart here gives you a guideline with regards to what we have to do. And if we were working with distributors, whether they be in Europe or Asia, they would also have to have an audit because they are working with our lab. So the seriousness of this is that how frequently those of us that live within North America, whether it be Canada or the US, we're under different observations with regards to governmental agencies. So when we talk about the COSMOS certification, as we can see here from the anagram COSM, Cosmetic, O, Organic, and X for Standard, this was introduced in Europe in 2017. So the COSMOS certification versus the ECO certification are two different things altogether, though they are related to each other. So the countries here, Germany, Great Britain, Spain, Italy, and France are involved in the association. So each country would be responsible for one part of the standard in terms of creating a level of standardization that would be applicable to getting the products. So in terms of all of the products that we have, 99% of our ingredients are natural origin and they can be sourced anywhere in the world. So if the lab is doing certification of a formula and we're getting it from a source, the goal is to create synergy so that we maximize the potential of the active ingredients. And since we are looking at the highest quality available, what we don't want to confuse the individual about is just because you're using a high quality doesn't mean it has to have a high cost. It really has to do with educating your consumers that how what they usually end up getting or what they hear about is words like organic as an example, where the application of that word in terms of selling products, organic meaning anything with a carbon structure, is being utilized in terms of a selling format, as opposed to what organic really should mean. Organic should mean that we are in compliance of all the things that make a difference with regards to the end ingredient. So when we talk about a natural origin, natural, anything derived from nature, we're not using anything synthetic. So these certifications that we have to have will have a direct effect on the consumer with regards to the quality that they're actually utilizing. So the guiding principles for this is that we have to respect the planet. We have to respect the ecology of everything, whether it be a water source, whether it be a land source. So obviously, if the farmer is getting to till their soil and the cost associated with having the right soil to plant their products, one would expect that it may take years to actually have an end product. And this is where sometimes the cost comes in. But by respecting the fact that we're living on one planet and it's a whole planet, and we're talking about how the environment is being diminished because of pollutants and other factors, whether it be the air, the water, or the soil, the whole system is in place so that how the framework for COSMOS is intact, and we have green chemistry as a result. So the line I'm going to talk about, one of the Nelly lines, actually is a line that is for anti-aging or for wellness, depending on what the client is looking for. But most importantly, this is one of the first professional skincare lines in the world that has received the Ecocert certification as well as the COSMOS organic certification. And as you notice on some of the little symbols that are on the bottom underneath the product, this is also a vegan skincare line. It is GMO free. There is no gluten. The packaging as well as the contents are biodegradable, and there is no animal testing or animal ingredients within these formulas. As a result, vegan. So when I talk about these products specifically about what they do or what their intention is, the goal is to respect that we have a lot of people that are very sensitive now to chemicals that are found in products as well as the environment itself, whether they be suffers from some form of dermatitis or asthma or just a variety of ailments that may prevent them from actually enjoying using products to change their skin or to help their skin. So these products are free of some of the known ingredients that are known to be hypersensitive to individuals. As a result, when we're talking to people that want something clean to use on their skin, not only is it going to change the ecosystem of the skin itself, at least anything that's being utilized will not have a negative effect on the groundwater as well as the planet itself. So wholeness or wellness or the perspective of balance is also being considered here. So if you're using a product that doesn't have any of the side effect of a chemical, as an example, a lot of people may be familiar with parabens being preservatives, and they can be found in a lot of skincare lines still on the marketplace, but a lot of people that have had issues with cancer, as an example, may want to avoid something with a paraben, primarily because they consider it to be a bioidentical hormone, and they may result in having issues with certain forms of cancer. To be more specific with ingredients, a lot of these can be found in terms of doing research. You can find that some of the ingredients listed here are already online, and you can go to just about any website and learn a little bit more about what they actually do. But more specifically, when we're talking about clean products, this is the perfect skincare line for somebody that is hypersensitive, somebody that may have issues with cancers, therefore they need something, or they need to use products that are safe for oncology or to do oncology aesthetics as well. So it took many years for the line to be developed. In fact, Nelly as a brand started in 1946, but it wasn't until the last 5 years that more of the clean formulations have been on the marketplace. So the research and development has led to the laboratory receiving the Good Manufacturing Practice stamp. As I mentioned, we have environmentally friendly manufacturing processes. that are certified by the lab Ecocert, but we're also the governance of Health and Welfare Canada and the FDA. So the products meet the standard for those two governments as well. The main thing, everything is safe and stable for the clients. So the key ingredients that we utilize in the formula will have an effect on the epidermis or the dermis or the hypodermis, depending on what we're actually targeting. But in this case here, when we talk about all of these vegetal extracts, you'll see that they'll be present in more specific formulas. So these ingredients, like the minerals, vitamins and minerals, and sugars, which are called polysaccharids, these are found in a lot of skincare lines on the market. The key here that these are all plant-derived. And when we are looking at some of the formulations, like our vitamin C as an example, which is in a patented state, the efficacy of the C itself will make a big difference with regards to how it actually works on the skin. But this is a good educational bit of information that you'll need to have so that when you're actually utilizing the formulas and educating your consumer about the formula, you know how it actually works. Some of the ingredients, like bentonite clay, being high in minerals, will have a big difference with regards to dehydration, but also remineralizing the skin so that you have better balance in the epidermal wall as well. So with regards to oleosomes, getting more specific into ingredients. Oleosomes are one of the newest molecules that are found in skincare formulations. So oleosomes are plant extracts that will give you slip or give you slide, but it will be helping to strengthen the epidermal barrier so that it actually holds a little bit more moisture, but it won't give you a greasy texture or feel to the skin. So this vegetal technology that we're utilizing is something unique to the Nelly formulations. And when we're looking at the BioTense line, we consider that how, in terms of active ingredients in the direction, we're looking at how nature is being utilized to transform the skin in a highly effective manner, but also in a more natural way. We utilize Poulan, which will be a tensile agent, so it'll work to strengthen the epidermis. As we consider that how the outside of the skin is a barrier function, most people are concerned about the actual tone or elasticity of the skin. So the goal of the Poulan is actually to work as an anti-pollution shield, helping to prevent oxidation of the skin itself, but also creating better hydration for the skin. It is derived from a fungi, and this is a fermentation process that we utilize. So it's not something that's absorbed into the body. So we're not talking about starch with regards to anything to do with diabetes or with insulin factors. We're talking about utilizing a starch to create firmness to the outer surface of the skin. So you get a little bit of a lift when we're talking about using the ingredient Poulan. Hyaluronic acid, which is familiar to a lot of people. Using hyaluronic acid as a molecule holds up to 1,000 times its molecular weight in water. So it's a natural hydrator or humectant molecule. This is also the ingredient found in the fluid surrounding our joints. So when we talk about hyaluronic acid, we're talking about it being a cushioning agent within the body. But as a surfactant, it is really working to attract moisture to the surface of the skin to reduce the appearance of fine lines. And it is a vegetal source that we're utilizing here. So again, it's not coming or being sourced from an animal ingredient. So the person that is concerned about utilizing, again, an animal would not need to be concerned about this, but it has the same effect as the animal derivative. And the purpose of the hyaluronic acid is to stimulate the fibroblast activity, which in turn will help to produce collagen renewal. So after 24 hours, we can see a difference with the skin because we also utilize a neuropeptide called Acmella Oleracea. This is one of the newest ingredients that are found to relax the muscle fibers, and it's found through the thread of the line, of the BioTense line, that is. And as a result of using this on a daily basis, the microcontractions that are being relaxed help to reduce those deep chronic wrinkles that some people may use something like Botox for, but this is a subtle effect, And progressively, by relaxing the muscle fiber, again, we're talking about a subdermal effect, you're having a reduction and contraction of the typical lines that people are concerned about between their forehead and even the right sides around the eye area or the mouth area. So the Acmella, working specifically on the muscle tone itself, will make a big difference with how we visually appear for the depth of the wrinkle. So all of these ingredients combined will have an active effect in terms of restoring the epidermal wall and the visual appearance of the skin itself. This ingredient, patented Glycogen, is another sugar derivative from maple sugar. So this will actually help to increase the production of hyaluronic acid. But the formulation itself is excellent for reducing the impact of UVB damage, ultraviolet B rays, which trigger the dehydration, but also the aging of the skin itself. So by increasing the energy within the cell, we're talking about mitochondrial activity, basically the powerhouse of the cell. This can start to trigger the production of more ceramides, which are responsible for the binding of the epidermal wall, and as I mentioned a moment ago, also for the production of hyaluronic acid. So by using patented Glycogen within the formulations, we go directly to one of the causes of cellular aging, basically a factor of energy and how energy is no longer to be able to be utilized to its full potential. So by triggering the cell's natural ability to do its job well, we can make a big difference with reversing the signs of aging. So the mitochondrial fatigue usually creates dehydration issues as well as a loss of elastin and collagen fibers. So the target here is actually the cell called the fibroblast cell, which is responsible for producing collagen and elastin. But also within the epidermis itself, the actual function of the epidermal wall is to have a metabolic activity in its production of hyaluronic acid, which helps with the water-oil balance or the hydrolipidic film of the skin itself. By doing this, we will make a difference with regard to those surface wrinkles. So everything has to do with triggering and creating a response to the skin itself. So by producing effects for the epidermis as well as the dermis, we have a change of tone on the outside as well as the dermal tone, which is more on the inside. It also, as I mentioned a moment ago as well, again, just a little reminder, we want to reduce the impact of the UVB rays, which helps with the oxidative stress, ROS, reactive oxidative stress. So by actually having components within the formula to help to offset some of these epidermal damages that occur naturally from radiation, we help to change the way the skin is aging. And the production of hyaluronic acid, again, and ceramide as well. Just some things I've already mentioned before. I'm just going to skip past these so you can see a nice image of before and after, how the skin is starting to improve and change after a few weeks of using the eye gel and the moisturizer. So anti-aging is about penetrating the skin. So we can't actually talk about products unless they actually make a difference in terms of their absorption. So the key here is molecular structure. And we do have within Nelly patented systems that actually deliver active ingredients to the surface as well as into the skin, into the dermis itself. But the key here with anti-aging is to be able to reach the depth where the damage is occurring. As an example, just a little reminder, women past the age of 18 generally lose 1% collagen content a year for the rest of their adult life. Part of it is to do with how estrogen is actually being lost during menses, but also how the body's shifting hormonally because of estrogenic factors. And that combined with sun damage, which we all have to deal with, can accelerate the signs of aging, whether it be the epidermis or the dermis. So the goal is to target the effects of time, but the before and after here for 6 weeks, you can see a softening of the wrinkles on the forehead, and you can see the overall complexion itself is looking a little bit brighter as well. So this is just from the glycogen molecule being utilized to help to restore the balance of dermal and epidermal function. So glycogen will have a reduction in terms of pigmentation. So it's not a tyrosinase inhibitor, but because it helps to reduce the pigmentation process by blocking some of the UVB or the effects of UVB, we see a diminishing of dermal activity. In this case here, melanocytes are found at the epidermal dermal junction within the basal layer. So when we're talking about hyperpigmentation, which is one of the symptoms of or one of the signs of aging, most people will call them liver spots if they're talking about a more aging person, but the correct terminology here is lentigines, and they are actually something that can be diminished by using sunscreen, but that in combination with the glycogen will help to reduce the pigmentation that one would see just from natural aging. Here is a better view of a side profile. Sometimes we see this quite typically with people that are driving or sunbathing, but obviously this combined with other services can help to even accelerate the diminishing of the hyperpigmentation. So our vitamin C, which is probably one of the most important things to remember within the BioTense line, is that it is a patented form of vitamin C. And it is encompassed within a liposome membrane. So the C itself does not actually oxidize when it's within the container. So when the C actually hits the skin, the vitamin C will actually activate because the membrane is released or broken. And as a result of it, it's only when it has surface contact the C will activate to do its job, either to brighten the skin or to stimulate collagen formation, depending on which formula you're using or what the target actually can be. So you may want to use it for a brown spot, but you may want to use it for a general surface area, for looseness or laxity of the skin. And as a result of it, we put this patented vitamin C in several formulations within the BioTense line, and even in classic Nelly, we also have the vitamin C available. But the key here is that the efficacy of the C is really that it is stable until it hits the skin itself, and then it is actually released to that point. So where a lot of formulas on the marketplace generally oxidize very quickly, creating an issue with shelf life, but also actual activity of a C. In this case here, the liposome makes a big difference with regards to the delivery of the C itself to the surface of the skin. Ingredients that we don't have and don't want to have in these formulations are the sulfates that actually create some dermal and epidermal stress. Here you can see symptoms of dryness, cracking, when we're talking about issues with eczema, psoriasis, or other factors that people might be concerned or create issues with hypersensitivity. By reducing the impact of these chemicals, we go a long way with helping our clients that are highly sensitive to ingredients. These ingredients should not be used on infants, as an example. So we do recommend to avoid these chemicals if your skin is on the thinner side or the hypersensitive side, and definitely around your eyes as well. So the consequences of using aggressive surfactants is really that dermatitis can actually occur, which can trigger issues with hypersensitivity because the barrier of the epidermis is more broken or fragile. As a result, other ingredients can also go into the skin, and it leads to this vicious cycle of not being in balance and highly reactive. So for the most sensitive skins, because we want to use something that will clean the skin, we use a decoglucoside, which is a surfactant from glucose. So it's a sugar derivative, and this will be creating foam or lather with your product. Since clients, whether they use a gel cleanser or foaming cleanser, they want to see something that mimics a foam because psychologically we are so used to cleaning with a foam. So these cleansers do need to be used with water, but they are excellent for the most sensitive of skins because we don't have the irritating factor on the epidermis like you do with the sulfates. So a nice gentle surfactant. And the key here with our cleansers is actually to include prebiotic in the formulations. So this helps to build the ecosystem of the skin so we have the bacteria in balance. We want the good bacteria to be dominant and the bad bacteria to be less. So we need balance, so we need to have a little bit of both. So in the BioTense line, I'm going to go over just briefly each of the products so you know what is available within it. And I should take note here that our SPF 30 just received an award for its formulation, and primarily it's an excellent formula in the SPF, but this is, I'm going to talk when I get to that a little bit about natural versus organic, just so that how we're clear as to what you should be saying to your clients with that particular formula. So micelles, which are another new molecule for a lot of people, micelles are magnet molecules that attract water, oil, and dirt. In this case here, it's also a bacteriostatic cleanser. It can be used without water. So if you apply it onto the skin and then you take a cloth to remove the residue, it's excellent for people that can't use water for specific reasons, like going to the beach or maybe going into a gym, or if you're doing a service that requires you to clean makeup around the eyes, like lash extensions or waxing. This cleanser would be excellent in your studio to do your initial cleanse. And if you have a person that's wearing makeup, you might use it twice just to remove all the residue. But just make sure when you're actually using this cleanser that you let it sit for 15 to 30 seconds and then lift it off. The side effect of using this cleanser without water is that it's actually a dual purpose product. It is a cleanser and a toner, so it restores the pH balance of the skin at the same time. Whereas if you do use anything where water is involved, you're going to be shifting the pH of the skin to a more alkaline state. And after that step, you're going to need to be using a toner. So those people that are on the dry side, those people that are on the sensitive side, this is an excellent cleanser to be used in the morning before you actually put on your other formulas if you feel like your skin needs to be freshened up. And as a reminder, excellent before a service, whether it be eyelash extensions or eyebrow waxing, any area on the face where you just don't want to have stress caused by water and the shift of the pH itself. So micelles are a new molecule for a lot of people. Again, it is a magnet molecule and it attracts water, oil, and dirt, but the formulation itself of the BioTense cleanser is that it's also bacteriostatic. So just by pulling off those impurities, it creates a lot less stress to the skin itself. We do have a cleansing milk for those people that do wear heavier makeup, and in terms of treatment rooms, this would be used without water to lift the makeup itself. So if you are using the cleansing milk in a traditional facial, like all cleansing milks that we have in Nelly, you apply it onto the skin either with cotton pads or with gauze. If you use it with your hand, of course, that's fine. But generally, if you want the makeup to lift off the face, we suggest you let it sit for a few seconds so that it works to break down the molecular structure of the makeup. And as a result, it'll reduce the stress caused to the skin by overwashing. For those people that have combination to oily skins, the foaming cleanser, which is a gel, when you actually pump this cleanser out, you'll notice that it actually has a honey type color or a honey type tone. It is not honey. Again, this is a vegan line, so you wouldn't be using honey in this. It's just the formulation and the plant extracts within the formula that give you that color. So the BioTense gel cleanser is very concentrated. A little bit goes a long way. So a small amount with water, it will lather up like a soap. So you can use it twice a day to wash your face. And because within the formula, you also have bentonite clay, you're going to have a reduction of blackheads or oils primarily because it'll help to pull the impurities out of the follicle as well. The formula, the base being aloe vera, will have a soothing effect, so it's perfect for those people that are prone to a little bit of sensitivity as well, so we don't have to worry about creating irritation or stress to the skin by using cleansing routines. The key here is if the person is actually a little prone to sensitivity, is to reduce the temperature of the water so that they're not dealing with hot, irritating their skin. So warm or room temperature water with the cleanser will be more than enough to clean the skin, but we're creating added stress to the microcirculatory system. The toner is to balance the pH of the skin. So when you are using this in your treatment room, we recommend you take one of the retail products and refill it as needed. But in professional size, it comes in a larger pump bottle, which you can use on gauze or cotton pads. But the spray is highly effective after removing your mask, as an example, if you're doing a complete facial and you want to be able to show the client the actual packaging if you're using it in that application. But for home care, the toner could be used before you put on your moisturizers or serums, and definitely after your makeup to help to set the makeup. So it has a dual action depending on what you're looking for. All toners should be balancing the pH of the skin, which ideally is a 5.5. So if you're washing your face with water, the skin is becoming more alkaline, and the toner brings it back into an acid state, which is important for the microbiome of the skin, again, the flora and fauna, to be in a balanced state, but also so the skin isn't being stressed in terms of wanting to get back into a normal state. So you don't create a situation where certain structures within the skin itself are becoming hyperactivated because it's struggling to get back into pH balance. The purpose of this is to do it very quickly for the individual. The BioTense gommage or exfoliant, the key ingredient here is that you have birch, which is an enzyme to help to break down the desmosomes, or the glue that binds the cells together, and combined with bentonite clay, which is a highly structured mineral clay. The bentonite will have a positive negative charge on the skin because of its polarity. But the birch breaking down the desmosomes and the bentonite working together to pull the oils out of the skin will help to accelerate the absorption of active ingredients if this is used once or twice a week based on the skin type of the individual. The key here with the gommage is when you put it on the skin being clean, you allow it to activate for about 30 seconds before you start a gentle effleurage movement to lift the skin. And my suggestion is to start from the bottom working up so that you're working in the direction of muscles origin and insertion. This will help for those of you that are doing anti-aging treatments, but it's a good habit to get into with regards to not stretching or pulling the muscle fibers or the epidermis itself. So it will have a positive side effect with reducing blackheads, but it doesn't solve the problem with blackheads that reoccur. That has to do with skin hygiene. So if your clients are concerned about buildup within their skin, show them or point out the areas where they have that buildup and recommend that the BioTense be used more frequently, the BioTense gommage be used more frequently to start off with, to help to purge some of the impurities that are actually trapped within the follicle. The side effect of using your exfoliant as needed, and that's based on the esthetician's recommendations, is you can accelerate the lightening of the skin in terms of pigmentation and the overall clarity, but you're going to make a big difference with the absorption of active ingredients, such as the ingredients I mentioned before, the glycogen, the hyaluronic acid, and the conditioning effect of the oleosome. So when we're talking about bentonite clay, it is a naturally occurring molecule that has a polarity, a positive, negative charge. So when we're looking at the charges themselves, when bentonite being negative and humans being positive, what's happening is you're getting a lifting or purging of any impurities that are built up within the follicles. And per square centimeter of the skin, there's hundreds of follicles. So when you think of most people that complain about buildup happening around their nose, as an example, or their chin, generally the central axis of the face, which is where we have in the average person more oil glands, this will make a big difference with regards to the overall tone of the skin, but definitely the size of the pores and the overall quality of the complexion. So it creates a mattifying effect for those individuals that are concerned about shine. The bentonite is found through several formulations. You have it in your cleanser and you have it in your exfoliant, the gommage. In the serum, where we are using it locally, can be used specifically for people that are concerned about wrinkles or deep expression lines, whether they be between the forehead or around the eyes. Here, we feature the patented form of vitamin C combined with hyaluronic acid. So the formulation itself being a synergy of active ingredients. You'll notice here in the active ingredients, lots of other great ingredients like baobab, another active ingredient with vitamin C as a component. But what we're looking at here is a combination of ingredients that help to change the way the muscle is actually working, creating deeper expression wrinkles. So think of the muscle itself, like if you're going to the gym and exercise, the muscle itself is getting work, but if it's worked all the time, it can't actually relax. So by relaxing the muscle and breaking down the lactic acid that's within the muscle fiber, this will soften the appearance of those deeper expression wrinkles. So ideally, if the expression wrinkle is very deep, as around the eyebrows, one should exfoliate more frequently to begin with, so you get rid of the heaviness of dead cells and sometimes just the impurities that are trapped within the follicle, blackheads as an example. This will have a better result with regards to utilizing the serum because you're going to have better penetration of the active ingredients. So if the person is getting the serum and they're using it specifically for the deeper expression wrinkles, a reminder is to exfoliate a little bit more frequently to begin with. If the area is on the thin side or hypersensitive side, then you don't need to overstimulate the area. A very light pressure to slough off the dead cells will make a big difference with the gommage, and then the penetration of the serum becomes more pronounced. For those people that suffer from dry skin or dull skin, the BioTense extract, a combination of essential oils and plant extracts, will help to condition the epidermis and trigger stimulation to the microcirculatory system. So here we have a combination of stimulating extracts within the formula that will help to encourage oxyhemoglobin from moving from being stagnant but moving through the epidermis, so you get a bit more of a glow. So for that dull, dry skin especially, speaking of winter, this is an excellent formulation for an individual to use day and or night. And the argan oil will have an effect in terms of conditioning the skin without giving you that heavy, greasy feel. Same for the avocado and the coconut oil. So the combination of these three plant extracts will have a conditioning effect to the epidermis. You don't need a lot to condition the skin, and it can be used by itself and then putting on sunscreen if it's during the day, or by itself and going to bed at night. Ideally, this is again for the person that has dry skin, lacking tone to the epidermis and the dermis. So you're getting a stimulation from within, so you're triggering a response of the fibroblast cells as well, increasing the tone elasticity of the dermis. And then the moisturizer, which we call BioTense Cream. Here you have your combination of active ingredients to give you a nice soft texture. It is a light creamy consistency, certainly not heavy or greasy, but it's a multi-purpose formula combining the activity of the vitamin E, argan oil, vitamin C, the bentonite clay, and hyaluronic acid and the neuropeptide, the Acmella Oleracea. So the complexity of this formula is excellent for those persons that need a multi-purpose tool to address what's going on in many different areas of the skin. This is excellent for that person that's a little bit on the sensitive side as well, because you're not dealing with anything that's creating a negative impact with regards to irritation. So when you're actually using this treatment cream, which can be used day or night, or day and night, depending on what the person's looking for, the reminder here is that how it helps to promote better oxygenation of the tissues, epidermis as well as dermis. And the combination of the active ingredients helping to feed and supply the skin with the right components for change are already present in there. So it becomes very user-friendly for the individual. Also, just to take note here with regards to packaging, because I never really got into this in the conversation so far, these containers are recyclable. The dye that we're actually utilizing on the container is a vegetal dye, so there's no chemical absorption of dyes into the actual body, and the containers are airless. So there's no contamination of ingredients to the formula from air that we are present in. So there's no need to be concerned about oxidative stress to the actual ingredients. So if your hands are clean, you're putting it directly on your skin and you're just lightly massaging it into the skin, it's a very easy protocol with product use. The eye gel is manufactured to be in a roller ball application, and it's for personal use. So when you are utilizing the eye gel, I'm going to show you a little chart with regards to various ways of using the eye gel to help with lift and tone. But again, you contain here your vitamin C, and you have hawthorn in the formula, which helps with dark circles. So the combination of a humectant from your hyaluronic acid, a stimulant from your vitamin C or brightening agent, the neuropeptide, the Acmella Oleracea, and the hawthorn is creating a multi-purpose eye formula to help to address vascular issues, which creates dark circles and puffiness, but also tone elasticity, which contribute to wrinkles or fine lines. So if you are using it to lift the eyes or the brows, the arrows indicate how you can use the roller and the direction you will use the roller. So if we're going from the left to the right, the left is showing you the left picture is showing you how to apply the formulation to help to lift the brow, but also to lift any sort of sagging in the lower eye area. If the eye area is more droopy or pronounced droopiness, the middle picture is showing you how to use the eye roller. So you maximize the effect of the ingredients. And if it's just puffiness and dark circles, the back and forth movement of the third picture to the far right is going to show you the application for helping to affect the lymphatic circulation in that particular case. We do have eye pads that can be used as a treatment to help with issues with puffiness, severe puffiness. And of course, you can utilize this in your treatment room. If you're doing an eyebrow wax, as an example, this would be a nice add-on in terms of a soothing treatment to help for your clients' issues. Excellent formulation. They can be reused if the eye patches can be reused. So if you just take them off with the tweezer, put them back into the foil package and gift it to your client, they can go home with it. And obviously if they have a special event, they can use it the day of their special event so they can make an effect for their skin. The mask itself is an anti-aging formula. So the combination of active ingredients in this formula, if you want to talk about it as a selling feature, it is the vitamin C mask. So it is to increase stimulation to the skin. Now, those people that are a little bit on the sensitive side, meaning that how they flush easily, they can have a little bit of reaction from the vitamin C in this mask. It is supposed to happen. So it's not a negative thing, but you want to prepare your clients for an experience if they're not familiar with it. If the person had dull, gray, muddy complexions, or if they have hyperpigmentation, this would be an excellent mask to help to brighten the overall complexion because, again, you have the vitamin C component. If their skin is on the oily side, the bentonite is going to help to reduce the buildup that's happening within the follicle. But as a mask itself, it is an anti-aging formula to help to improve the texture of the epidermis as well as to create more tone and elasticity to the skin. So in a treatment room, the mask will actually turn from light cocoa color because of the cocoa that's in the formula, and you can call it the chocolate facial if you wish, because it has that chocolate smell. But the cocoa color will turn to a white or a salt-like color. This is the bentonite actually drying. So that's actually your timing in terms of mask and how long it takes for it to dry on the skin. So if the skin is clean, if the skin is exfoliated, and you put the mask on, and this is home care, you can do a treatment once or twice a week to help to encourage tone and elasticity to the dermis. The side effect, again, to the epidermis is that you brighten the skin and you reduce the fine lines. So it's a dual purpose mask in terms of what it does. To remove the mask should be dampened with room temperature water to soften the clay, and you need to be thorough in your removal because it can stay underneath the vellus hairs or in the crevices that may be on the skin. So just be thorough with your removal if you're doing it in a treatment room so it is professionally removed and the client goes home with a nice, clean, mask-free face. But generally, the mask can be on for 15 to 20 minutes before it's removed. In terms of a full facial, you're looking at about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. We also have, for those of you that are concerned about exfoliation tools, this is actually a vegan sponge. So we're utilizing the vetiver root as the actual fiber. So it has a lovely smell, but it is a manual exfoliating tool. It can be done dry or wet, depending on how you want to use it. But for those of you that do body treatments, as an example with Olea Slim, if you want to do a vegan or a method where you utilize a vegan sponge, this would be ideal to be used before you actually do your oil application. And it could be used with or without water at home, just making sure that it's dried thoroughly before next application, or air is going around the root itself so it doesn't start to break down because of natural issues to do with fibers and oxygen in the atmosphere. And we also have, for those of you that want something that is more of a cleanser and exfoliant, our exfoliating bar, which has little micro silica beads in it. This will work as your exfoliating tool, smells amazing. The beauty of this is that how it's not harsh. And for those people that need a combination of foam as well as grit, you have it combining through here. My suggestion is not to use the bar in the water directly to wet the bar and use the lather on your skin. If it's in the water too long, the charcoal will actually start to break down much faster and your bar won't last you very long. But it's excellent for those people that need to use something prior to waxing, as an example, or after waxing, because it'll help to reduce the impact of dead cells and how they occlude the follicle, preventing hair from coming through the follicle, therefore reducing ingrown hairs. So for those clients that want another avenue in terms of targeting your clients, yes, it's a cleaning tool, but also it's an exfoliating tool to help to reduce the tendencies towards ingrown hairs. If it's being used on the face, you have to use a little bit of lather. Don't use the bar directly in the skin, and don't use the bar directly on the areola around the bust area because it can be a little irritating. Just a little bit of a side note there. So when we use the silica, it's going to be working as an exfoliating tool. It helps to maintain the hydration of the skin. Most importantly, any type of brushing or activity that's actually done on the skin will help to increase fibroblast activity, in turn triggering the formation of collagen and elastin fibers generally. I highly recommend body brushing or skin brushing or face exfoliating as needed to help to remedy the loss of elasticity and tone, but it makes a big difference with the absorption of active ingredients as well. And now our fabulous SPF 30 sunscreen that we've just won the award for, most innovative product for 2020. This is the first organic sunscreen in the world. And I do mean organic, not naturally occurring. So we can use the COSMOS Organic and the Ecocert stamps on this formula because it has met the standard and the classification for what is classified to be a cosmetic formula, not a natural formula, which means that how anything derived from nature, but a natural formula like clay as an example doesn't meet the standard of a cosmetic since we can get clay clay directly from the ground. Here it is a combination of titanium and zinc. We listed the percentages there for you. So 6.5% of the titanium and a 6.3% of the zinc oxide. So these are physical blocks. And when you use this on the skin, because of the way the formulation is manufactured, you won't have a whitening effect of the skin caused by zinc. It will actually disperse evenly into the skin, leaving the skin its natural color or tone. So when you are using the zinc and titanium, the key here, because they're clays, they do wick oils and moisture off the skin. So in order to make sure the skin is well hydrated before you apply the sunscreen would be a very important thing to remind your clients with. So cleaning your skin, using a toner, using a moisturizer, then the SPF would be the normal way of using it. If the person has oily skin, they can go straight to the SPF because it has a mattifying effect as well, and it would spread quite easily since they have natural sebaceous activity. But if they have dry skin, they're lacking the production of sebum, the formula needs to be used with a moisturizer applied first and then sunscreen on second. And the physical nature of the block, it should last for several hours. And if you do go into water and you wipe your skin, you would need to reapply the sunscreen because you're removing the physical block as well. So daily use of a formula is wash your face, use your toner to balance your pH. If you're using your serum, it goes on first. If you're using your eye gel, it goes on next. Your moisturizer goes on top of that, and then your SPF 30 on top of that if you want to do beginning to end complete. If you're exfoliating your skin once or twice a week, you should follow it up with the mask because that will have your anti-aging effect in terms of active ingredients and also stimulating the epidermis and the dermis. So by doing your treatments once or twice a week at home, you're encouraging the stimulation of fibroblast activity, again, in turn stimulating collagen and elastin fibers. So whenever you use your sunscreens, and if you need to educate your clients a little bit more about ingredients and what they do, the difference between mineral and chemicals is that how the chemicals that are known to be sensitive or irritating to the skin are listed here for you. And in some parts of the world, these chemicals are prohibited. So if you're living or working in an area where you have to have this conversation of toxicity and how it affects the planet, what we're proud of in Nelly is that we no longer contribute to the diminishing of the ecosystem by having a product that's safe for the coral reefs, but also safe for the human itself. So this can be used on an infant as young as 3 to 6 months of age. So that is your home care regimen. If you want to follow the order, choose a cleanser. Step 1, use your toner to balance your pH, exfoliate your skin twice a week, and hydrate your skin daily, morning and night. And don't forget your sunscreen during the day because technically that is the most important thing when it comes to anti-aging. Without a good sunscreen to protect you from the impact of UVA or UVB, your cells will age. And as a result, we see more people concerned about something that they could have prevented rather than being proactive with regards to the choices that they can make. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful day and continue to feed us questions and comments and recommendations as to what you'd like to see in future conversations. We appreciate you and enjoy your Nelly De Vuyst.